Hey, I'm getting ready to read Chapter 8 Spies of the Meanest Doll in the World. Annabelle, feeling shaky but determined, took Tiffany's hand and led her back to the center of the hut where the PJ Party Pals and the Troll Twins were now standing in a small knot, talking quietly. We've had a discussion and we've decided to help you in your fight this weekend, she said firmly. On Monday, we'll have to try to get back home, but until then, we want to help you. Thank you, said Penny. That's really nice of you, but this isn't going to be easy, you know. In fact, it's dangerous. A few of us have gotten broken. So if you want to hide or something, you can. We won't mind. We're used to this, added Waterfall, heaving a great sigh. Annabelle looked down at her china arms and legs, at her petticoat and lace and ruffles. If she got hurt in the fight and went home to Kate cracked or smashed, or with her clothing ripped or even missing, Kate might be suspicious, and Annabelle would go into doll state. Or would she? Annabelle thought about the doll code of honor. A living doll, she reminded herself, was bound to protect the secret lives of dolls. But a living doll was also bound to work for the benefit of all doll kind. And what could be more beneficial to doll kind than preventing a cruel princess from trying to take away the freedom that living dolls now enjoyed? Annabelle wasn't sure, and she wished very hard that she could talk to Mama or Papa about this, but she thought that perhaps it would be okay to risk herself and Kate's suspicions if, in the end, all doll kind would benefit. So now she said bravely to Yvonne, No, we want to help you. What do we need to do first? Well, the walls here seem sturdy enough. I think this can be our hideout, at least for a while. We don't want it to get smashed, though, said Melody. We'd never be able to put it back together before PJ comes home. So if Mimi is planning something really big, we'll have to abandon it. The cutouts are going to go on a spy mission, spoke up Beth, to see if they can figure out what Mimi is up to. Annabelle looked at the cutouts and nudged Tiffany. The cutouts were busily fastening on their spy outfits, paper hats, and sunglasses. The hats were identical, yellow sombreros, except for the one worn by the doll at the end of the line. Hush's sombrero was red. When they were dressed, they took turns peering out the window and they glided by it. We'll be back, said the doll in the red hat as she opened the door. Annabelle guessed she was a head cut out. In no time, chorused the others. Annabelle and Tiffany watched as a cutout slipped across BJ's room to the wall nearest the door. They moved smoothly, following the orders of the doll in the red hat. Up, she would call, as she climbed nimbly up a bookcase or a stack of toys. The rest of the cutouts behind her. Down, she would cry, and the cutouts would change direction. Around, carefully, crack the whip. Around, careful, crack the whip. The cutout circled BJ's room, peering into corners and under pieces of furniture. Eventually, they returned to the Lego hut. No one's in here, reported the head cutout. No one at all, said the others. So we're off to Kelly's room. Keep your wits about you, said Waterfall gravely. Our wits, sang the cutouts, and the next thing Annabelle knew, they had slithered under the closed door and disappeared into the hallway. 15 minutes later, they returned. They zipped into the hut in a great rush. Annabelle thought they were quivering. What did you see? Asked Penny. Oh, it's horrible. It's awful. It's a crime and disaster, cried the cutout. What? Said Tiffany. The news was distressing. Mean Mimi was, in fact, building a racetrack between Kelly's room and BJ. She had ordered Sleeping Billy to line up Kelly's metal cars and trucks by the head of the track. She'll probably make Techno Man launch them, said Beth. Techno Man, the cutouts reported, was checking his lasers and spinning his gadgets and looking important. What about the Sandra doll? Asked Yvonne. Just sitting on her blanket, replied the head cutout. Waiting for orders, added the others. Melody sighed. It'll be an all-out attack, and I'm sure of it. Mean Mimi is angry. Angrier than usual, said Waterfall. Why? Asked Annabelle. Because last night she stomped in here while PJ was right in his bed, explained Penny, and demanded to know why we won't be her friends, and we told her. Like we told her about 1,000 times, said Beth, that she's not going to have true friends until she stops being so mean and bossing and wanting to take over the world. I said, added Melody, that the Sandra doll and the others only stick with her because they're afraid of her, not because they actually like her. She's just a big bully, and bullies don't have real friends, only underlings. She's fit to be tied, sang the cutouts. What should we do? Asked Tiffany. We have to prepare for the attack, said Yvonne. We know what to do, said Waterfall, sounding resigned. Unfortunately, we can't always prevent damage, said Melody. Annabelle, who had been sitting on the floor next to Tiffany, stood up. What I want to know, she said boldly, is how me can keep getting away from this. If BJ and his family come home after their weekends away and find messes of broken dolls or smashed Legos buildings, the doll code of honor has been broken and someone should go into doll state. Mimi is putting all dolls at risk with their attacks. That's true, agreed Beth. The thing is, so far, no one has actually caught her in the act, but we think it's just a matter of time before something so big, so absolutely horrendous, horrible happens that, well, maybe all of us here will go into doll state, or even permanent doll state, said Melody. Annabelle's hand flew to her mouth, and she gasped. She wanted to ask these new dolls if they really believed in PDES, but now wasn't the time. We don't know how to stop Mean Mimi, though, said Penny, at least not yet. We talked to her, but she doesn't listen to us, and we can't overpower her while she controls Techno Man, Sleeping Billy, and the Sandra doll. So all we can do is ward off her attacks. And we better be prepared, said Melody. Come on, everybody, let's get to work. Beth, you're in charge of barricades. Waterfall, you're in charge of booby traps. Cut out planning your next spy mission. Okay, replied Beth. Melody, you and Tiffany will work with me. That leaves Annabelle, Yvonne, and Penny to work with me, said Waterfall. Off we go, sang the cutouts, donning their hats and glasses, and once again gliding toward BJ's door. And so the preparations began. Annabelle and her group set traps around the room. They placed small building blocks in a precarious stack just inside his door, so that Mean Mimi wouldn't be able to launch a sneak attack. They rigged books to fly off shelves if someone tripped over a string they had attached to the bottom of a chair leg. They arranged a blanket at the edge of BJ's bed that Penny said could be thrown down upon Sleeping Billy and instantly putting him to sleep. The dolls worked so quickly that Annabelle felt sure they had set these traps many, many times before. Won't Mimi know what to expect when she attacks? She asked. Yes, replied Waterfall. These things just make her job a little harder. The same with Beth's barricades. Annabelle eyed the piles of toys and pieces from BJ's erector set. They won't do much except delay the worst of the damage. Sometimes Sleeping Billy and the Sandra doll get tired and want to go back to Kelly's room before things are totally out of control. It's the most we can hope for. It was very late at night when the last of the barricades was in place and the last of the booby traps had been set. Annabelle, Tiffany, the Troll Twins, and the PJ Party Pals returned to the Lego hut. What did you see? Melody asked as the cutouts returned from another spy mission. 11 o'clock, and all is well, saying the head cutout. All's well, chorused the others. Annabelle and Tiffany looked at each other and shrugged. I guess Mimi is planning a surprise attack, said Tiffany. It won't be too much of a surprise. Mimi will knock over a booby trap as soon as she comes in the room, replied Annabelle. The dolls huddled in the Lego hut and waited. They waited throughout the night. They waited all the next morning. If we wait much longer, BJ and his family will come home and see our traps and barricades, said Tiffany. Maybe that's what Mimi's hopes will happen. Annabelle whispered to her. She's just bluffing. She'll get us in trouble without even zzz. A low buzz sounded from the hallway outside BJ's room. Annabelle jumped. The buzz grew louder and louder. What is it? Cried Tiffany. Techno Man! Shrieked Penny. The buzzing was drowning out then by the crash of the pile of buildings blocks at the door to BJ's room burst open. Annabelle peeked through the window of the hut and saw the end of the racetrack poised in the doorway. A small metal ambulance came hurtling down the track, sailed through the air, and crashed against the hut. Annabelle jerked back from the window, but not before she saw a giant foot stride into the room. The Sandra doll was back, and she was not alone. Honey, I'm home, called Mean Mimi. And that's the end of chapter 8. We'll find out what happens next in chapter 9. Bye for now. Have a great day.